Start, brought to you by Briggs and Stratton. Here we are at beautiful iCar Karting here in Mirabel, Quebec. Not too beautiful today. It just won't stop racing. Over 30 millimeters of rain in the last 2 hours. The officials are just taking a little bit of a break, allowing the water to drain. It's like equivalent to 30 centimeters of snow in about an hour or two. There he is, your pole sitter, Kevin King, who finished second in Goodwood. Will he get his revenge on Jeffrey Kingsley today? We'll find out in a few minutes. Just the drivers are soaked. There's rain everywhere. Starting on the outside of the first row, Pierce Herter making a comeback this year. Simon Belanger in P3, last year's winner. And a disastrous weekend in Goodwood. He's got to try and make up some points here this afternoon. We have our officials in their duck boots trying to decide when it will be safe. Remember, safety is always first priority when it comes to go-kart racing. All right, back to our grid. Kevin King, your pole sitter, who finished second in Goodwood. Will it be his turn today? Pierce Herter on the outside of row one. Simon Belanger, disastrous weekend in Goodwood. Can Simon make up for it today? Marco Signoretti, no matter what he races, he's always at the front. Jeffrey Kingsley, your winner at Goodwood, will be starting in P5. And right next to him, Tyler McCulloch in the Intrepid card. Charlotte Lalonde in a Margay card in P7. And in P8, that would be Michael Forget, also in a Margay card. Well, the official doesn't have an issue with a dry whistle right now, as the drivers head onto the track, what can only be described as very difficult conditions. This is a type of afternoon where we will see how good these drivers are. They're really going to let their talent shine to the front. Just trying to control a kart in these conditions is very, very treacherous. Needless to say, drivers are all equipped with rain tires. No more slicks. They got the rain tires on. Once again, your top 7 rain tires, surprisingly, provide a lot of traction. It's actually very, very surprising. And as I've often said, when you're driving in these conditions, it's kind of like turning your wipers off in the pouring rain, which I don't suggest you do this on the way home from watching this broadcast. A couple of newcomers to the series, Hamzi Ataya, Frederic Sylvestre. We need new drivers to join the Briggs and Stratton family. Charles Regimbal, who we normally see in the front, will be starting on row 11. Reminding everyone, this is round 2 of the ECKC Eastern Canadian Karting Championship. Our drivers are lining up in formation. Very difficult to do in these atrocious conditions. We'll get to see some great driving and talent this afternoon, I'm sure. There's an in-kart shot from Simon Belanger to give you a real feel of what it's like to drive one of these incredible machines in such difficult conditions. Oh, it looks like we have some perfect formation. Look at how slow the drivers are. Very professional. Everyone is perfectly lined up, going towards the start-finish line. Are we going to get a green this time around? Green flag, they're off. Kevin King, right from the start, manages to stay on pole position. Look at the spray. You can barely see where you're going. Oh, that's Simon Belanger over the curbing, up into second place. Pierce Herter and Marco Signoretti side by side in third and fourth. Look at Kevin King going wide. We now have a new leader. Tyler McCulloch from P5 is now your leader. We saw everyone go wide onto the slippery stuff, and Tyler McCulloch came in, and there's Marco Signoretti on the inside of Tyler. Marco Signoretti, your new leader, Marco Signoretti. Look at the drivers moving in their carts, trying to get some sort of traction. Okay, now it's Pierce Herter who has now moved into P3. Kevin King went from first to fourth in the span of a second. Marco Signoretti, look at the traction or lack of traction. The drivers going off the track. This is incredible talent we're going to see for these guys. Just as trying to, now we see Pierce Herter going wide as he tries to negotiate the corner, and Kevin King now back up into second place. Kevin King, who dropped from the lead to fourth, is now in And Marco Signoretti, all his talent and experience is coming to the forefront, and he can just manage to control his car. It's about balance in these conditions, not going too fast, not going too slow. That was Simon Belanger. We saw him drop back into P6 after having an incredible start. Sébastien Laviolette, Nathan Gilbert. This is great footage, as we can see right now, because this really does give you an example of what the drivers... Oh, we have a collision for third, fourth, and fifth as Simon Belanger gets by all of them and is now up into P3. That was Herder, McCulloch, all coming together. You just need one car to bid sideways and he gets collected by the rest of the bunch. Meanwhile, at the front, giving everyone a driving lesson, Marco Signoretti, as Kevin King moves close to him. Look at this, the drivers are having a real hard time. Oh, look at the puddles. The drivers are having a hard time staying on the track. There's your leader once again, Marco Signoretti. We had a great in-kart shot of Kevin King's kart. We look at the drivers. Oh, there goes Tyler McCulloch trying to get on the inside for P4. Didn't quite make it work. We see the drivers are going to be using a variety of different lines. The key in these kind of conditions, you got to get away from the traditional racing line and try and get onto a part of the track where there has been no rubber accumulating. Because when you get on, water and rubber doesn't work good together. Meanwhile, so smooth on the steering wheel. Marco Signoretti is leading the race, followed by Kevin King. We'll be back to Mirabel in one moment. Okay, back to racing. Marco Signoretti. Just look at how smooth he is with the steering wheel. Right behind him. Oh, in-kart. This is what Kevin King is looking at. He's going to try on the inside. Can he make it work? Yes, your new leader, Kevin King, is Marco Signoretti. Just went a bit too far. That's Simon Belanger in third. And there we have Jeffrey Kingsley, who dominated in Goodwood, is struggling right now in the rain, is back in P7. See the drivers, once they get offline like that, they get into these puddles of water and it slows them right down. Marco Signoretti has known that. He's led. He is now studying Kevin King. Nathan Gilbert is now in P9. Meanwhile, back at the front, you see as Pierce Herder now goes on the inside of Jonathan Treadwell. Pierce Herder, with all his experience, is just finding the right line, the right places to be able to put his kart and get it to turn. It is so hard to get the karts to turn in these pouring rain. You got to find a section on the track where there is a little bit of grip, where there isn't rubber, where you can actually get the kart to turn. You'll sometimes see the drivers moving in their kart, trying to get some sort of weight transfer on the wheels to get them to actually bite onto the track. I was going to say asphalt, but it's more of concrete here at this section of the track. Meanwhile, Pierce Herder, P5 in front of Jonathan Treadwell. It is just so hard to get your kart to work the way you want it. We see drivers here keep going off at that section of the track. Meanwhile, back at the front, Kevin King, your leader, followed by Marco Signoretti. Will Marco have an answer for Kevin? Marco led early in the race and was just so smooth. And we see Simon Belanger is on the move. Simon Belanger now up into P3. Our top three. Alex De Silva, coming from mid-pack to now make it up into P6, is one of the few times where you could actually make up some ground. It's in the pouring rain, and we see Jeffrey Kingsley fighting his kart in P7 ahead of Jonathan Treadwell. Meanwhile, back at the front, Kevin King using every inch of experience to stay in front of Marco Signoretti, and Simon Belanger is now Nathan Gilbert in P8. Kevin King P1, P2 Marco Signoretti, and Simon Belanger not far behind. Look at him leaning forward on his kart. Look at the conditions. This is literally what Simon Belanger sees as he's trying to chase down your top two drivers. Kevin King is just being, Marco Signoretti, a little bit of contact with Kevin King. That's not intentional. Trust me, in this pouring rain, you're doing anything you can. Once again, look at it. Battle from the in-car shot. Kevin King, Marco Signoretti, and Simon Belanger, 1, 2, 3, all grouped together. In these terrible conditions, one of the few times you can actually make up a lot of ground, as opposed to dry conditions. The difference in the rain is you can really make up a lot of ground if you can just find that right section of the track which makes your kart work. Meanwhile, Simon Belanger There we go, in-kart footage from Simo Balage's car. This is incredible technology. Simo Balage now in third, right behind Marco Signoretti and Kevin King. A little surprised Marco can't get by Kevin King. He was so smooth earlier on in the race as he was pulling away. And you can still see Marco. You can barely turning the steel wheel. So key in kart racing, whether it's dry or the rain. Oh, there he goes on the inside, Marco Signoretti. Can he make it work this time? Kevin King looking next to him. Kevin knows he made a mistake. He's wise. I'm going to give up the position to Marco and stay in second. Meanwhile, Simo Balage is studying all this. Is this going to be my chance to win and get a victory today? We'll be back in a few minutes. Signoretti, King, Balage, your top three. Here we are back to iCar Mirabel on these, to be polite, atrocious conditions. Normally in kart racing, the limits are the kart. But right now, it's the driver's ability in the pouring rain to try and squeeze out the maximum of their fingertips to get the kart to actually work. Your leader once again, Marco Signoretti, who's been so smooth, but Kevin King is right on his bumper, just waiting for a mistake, just waiting to pounce. Look at the rain spray. I don't know how these guys are staying on the track. Incredible skill being used. It's like driving in an ice storm. A lot of control, a lot of power slides. Oh, look at Kevin King here on the inside of Marco. This is where Marco had passed him earlier. Is he going to make it work this time? I think Marco might let him go by. Yes, Kevin King, and here comes Simo Balage. Simo Balage takes advantage of that to get into, oh no, he's in third place. Marco Signoretti, so smooth and so wise, managed to maintain his second place. And now Marco Signoretti is going to attack the leader once more. 3 wide. Tyler Freyer and Zach Bohm, P10, P11. Oh, Kevin King riding the curbs, trying to get some traction. You can just see it. It's a real game of finesse. Oh, Marco Signoretti on the inside as Kevin King went a little bit wide. Variety of different lines and techniques the drivers are using to try and get around the corners, driving on your fingertips, using the curbing sometimes to help you get the kart to actually turn. Kevin King, so much experience. Marco Signoretti, so much experience. It's incredible to see the talent that these drivers are showing us today in these horrendous conditions. Simo Balage, still in P3rd, analyzing, studying the situation, has dropped back ever so slightly. He had a chance earlier in the race when King and Signoretti were battling for the lead. Meanwhile, in mid-pack, don't want to be in the middle of that pack because you literally can't see where you're going. You got to have confidence in the driver between you. Oh, Frederic Sylvestre spins out. So hard to stay on the track. This is one of his first races. That was a clear case of inexperience. Oh, Simo Balage is now dropping back from your leaders. Maybe his tires are overheating. Tire pressures like to dry is very key here in the rain. Does it dry up? Does it get wetter? Your decision on tire pressures will determine a lot how you're going to finish the race. You got tire pressures for a drying track or for a very wet track. Kevin King had gone wide on that corner earlier and lost his lead. Now he went wide, but not as much as earlier, as he's managing to stay in the middle of the track. Marco Signoretti tries to dance on the inside. Almost side by side, Kevin and Marco putting on a driving clinic in the rain. It's not for nothing that Kevin King is leading the Nissan Micra Challenge. He's represented Canada at World Finals in the past in karting. So much experience, such a calm, talented young driver. And Marco Signoretti always at the front, regardless of what class he races in. It's interesting that 2 of the calmest, oh, we have a spinner there. I think that was in P5. Very hard to stay on the track in these very difficult conditions. Interesting to see how the 2 of the more calm drivers outside the track are excelling in these pouring conditions. Oh, Kevin King, you saw the water as he aquaplaned ever so slightly in the middle of the corner, but manages to stay in control of the lead. Earlier today, On that condition, he was going wider and wider and wider, and that allowed Marco to get on the inside. But Kevin learned his lesson using his knowledge and experience. Oh, there he went a little bit wide, trying to find some traction. As we can see from Simon Belanger's kart, how he's starting to drop back from our top 2 leaders. Did he get his tire pressures wrong? Is he overdriving? We don't know. He still has some speed because he has pulled away from the rest of the field. It is only in the pouring rain where in Briggs and Stratton you actually start to see some big gaps. In the dry, normally the drivers will work together, they'll draft together, they'll try and stay in packs to get away from the rest of the field. And here we are, last lap, Kevin King. You're not allowed to make a mistake if you want to win that race because Marco Signoretti will pounce. Kevin King and Marco, look at the talent of these drivers. We can barely see them turning the steering wheel. So key in these rain conditions, you don't want to be constantly correcting the kart. No, Kevin King didn't go too wide on that last corner. Seems to, oh, Marco on the inside. Can he make it work? Your new leader, Marco Signoretti. Oh, but Kevin King returns the favor on the next corner as he managed to maintain on the inside. Now Marco Signoretti back on the outside. We had them side by side for 3 corners. Kevin King gives a little look behind like, yeah, no problem. I do this every Sunday. Kevin King, your leader, Marco Signoretti, trying every trick in the book to get this victory. Who will prevail in these pouring conditions here at Lake Mirabel? Few corners left to go. This inside shot from Kevin King. Here we go, your winner today at Mirabel, Kevin King, closely followed by Marco Signoretti, and in 3rd place, Simon Belanger, who was the best of the rest. Tyler McCulloch, a personal best, finishes P5, sometimes in the rain. Some drivers you don't normally see at the front can actually, Alex De Silva, for example, in P4, drivers you don't normally see near the front can sometimes use the rain to showcase themselves, showcase their talent, and get to the top of the grid. Well, now that the race is over, it looks like the race has died down. Kevin King, Signoretti, Simon Belanger, Alex De Silva, nice to see you near the front. Tyler McCulloch, Jeffrey Kingsley saves the day in 6th place. Jonathan Treadwell in P7 back. Zach Bohm in P8, newcomer. Hamzi Ataya, P9, fabulous drive for Hamzi. Charles Roger-Bal, who's starting way at the back, manages to round out your top 10. Pierce Herter in P20, didn't quite see what happened to Pierce. Normally used to seeing Pierce on the podium or at the very worst in the top 5. Charlotte Lalone, who started near the front, is in P22. Sorry, Charlotte. Tom Kedziu at P23. Jamie Hines Ventura rounds out your field today. This was round 2 in Mirabel. Very difficult conditions. Didn't see very many spinners. It just shows you the talent of these drivers. A lot of them have been racing karts for the last 8 or 9, 10 years. And they've all told me personally how much they love racing in the Briggs and Stratton class. Standard procedure, you got to weigh in, and then some drivers will go through a technical inspection where our tech inspectors will verify carburation and exhaust, etc., to make sure everyone's on the same footing. We'll be back to the podium in just a moment. Here we go, our podium presentations indoors. Thank you very much to the organizers. It's a lot dry here. Simon Belanger, after a rough weekend in Goodwood, finishes on the podium. There he is, a very calm Marco Signoretti, his best ever performance in Briggs. One of the more calm, smooth drivers. Your winner, Kevin King, first victory of the season. That smile says it all. Him and Marco shaking hands, had a very great battle for first place. Coming up, an interview with your winner, Kevin King.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was our first time in the wet for this track and in Briggs also, so it was a pretty handful to win that race with Marco right behind us.
Now it puts you back up in the ranking. Where are you now at this point?
Honestly, the rankings, I'm not sure, and I'm not really following that because I'll be missing a Mont Tremblant race for a car racing. But I'll be back in Mosport for sure, though.
Okay, so that's one thing you do. You do the Nissan Micro Cup. How much of the racing in Briggs and Stratton helps you out for the Micro Cup?
The racing in Briggs and Stratton only helps me for my pure pleasure. I mean, it's just pure driving, and that's what I prefer the most. I prefer going go-karting than going in cars, so it's just for my personal interest.
Our next broadcast at Champ Kart. Round 3 will be from Circuit Karting Mont-Tremblant. I'm Nord Trottier saying bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Champ Kart was once again brought to you by Briggs and Stratton.